serious our finances were. So they decided to let you know. So this week or this month I'm talking about miracles, obstacles to miracles. And so I want to share a personal miracle with you. Here we go. So after our meeting Thursday, our board meeting Thursday, I wrote this the next day in my journal. I'm going to share it with you. And it says, because we're so short on money at the center, I'm going to donate my next week check back to the center. It'll be tough to pay my bills, but I will. I'm always blessed with enough. So that's what I wrote in my journal on Friday morning after our board meeting. Now I tell you this not to lay a bunch of guilt on you or not to make myself look like I'm just so gracious and generous. I tell you this because of the generosity of spirit. The moment that I wrote that, there was a ping on my cell phone that I had received a message. And so the message was from my friend Debbie. And she wrote, I've sent you an envelope. Call me after you receive it. Well, I was very curious, of course, and in my sloppy sweats and my slippers, I schlepped myself out to the mailbox to open. And there was an envelope from Debbie. And in it was a cashier's check that was 4 times my weekly salary. I know. Wow. I know. Miracles. Miracles. So I called her, and this is the rest of the story. Before I moved to Reno, I had a little RV, a little rickety-rackety RV that was an answer to my dream because it was an RV that I could afford, and that had been my dream to travel. But I came here instead, which was the other answer to my prayer. Anyway, I was really hard-pressed to make a decision about the RV that I named Ferdinand. Ferdinand the RV. And it's an 88 Ford Econoline, all self-contained, all very rickety-rackety and dear. And it just kept going and going and going. And I couldn't decide what I wanted to do with it. I put it out for consignment in Albuquerque, and so nothing happened. And then my friend Debbie was living in Pueblo, or does live in Pueblo, Colorado. She was going to Albuquerque. And I said, well, you know, maybe you want Ferdinand. So she took Ferdinand to Pueblo with her. And it didn't meet her needs because she's very tall. And her partner is very tall. So there was like legs going everywhere in Ferdinand, and that didn't work. So then she thought, well, I don't know. So I was back and forth. Should I keep Ferdinand? Should I let Ferdinand go? If I brought him here, then I'd have to pay storage for him, and I didn't have anybody to, yes, and blah, blah, blah. So I finally, it got to the place that the tags were due. So we'd either have to buy new tags, and in Colorado they're very expensive, or just, I don't know. I finally said, Debbie, let's just donate it. And she said, well, okay. But instead of making that decision to donate it, she put a sign out on Ferdinand. And what is this? This is the 25th of August. The tags are due the 1st of September. And just when she was getting ready to call to donate Ferdinand, this young couple stopped by and wanted him. So that's the rest of the story. They'd been looking and looking for an RV that they could afford. They had a child, a little child. And so they could fulfill their dream of traveling with their child in an affordable way. So that's why the check came to me in just the nick of time on Friday. Why didn't Ferdinand sell earlier? Because I had not totally let go of him. I was being wishy-washy. I was muddled in my consciousness. So that is one of the primary obstacles why miracles don't flow to us when we think they should. Because we are muddled in our consciousness and we're unclear about what we want. And the moment we make up our mind what we really want, universe, God, spirit, whatever you want to call that essence that is the intelligence of the universe, flows forward and creates the miracles that we're looking for. Remembering the definition, our working definition from Shortcut to a Miracle by Reno NV. A miracle is a series of natural events occurring in the right sequence and at the right time to produce wonderful results. The right sequence at the right time to produce wonderful results. So Ferdinand has gone to a new home. I am comfortably able to donate my salary back. And all is right with the world. Because I got very clear and my consciousness was no longer muddled. So what else stands in our way? Doubt can be a really powerful negative consequence. So when we doubt that Spirit's going to come forward for us, when we doubt that the miracle isn't going to happen, that's what we're putting out there. That is the prayer that we are actually praying, the yes buts. And the universe hears those negatives, those doubts, those fears, those sense of lacks, and that's what is created for us. That is what we're bringing into our lives. So we talked about now a new home for our community, one that meets all of our needs and that we can afford. And we've asked you all to pray for it. And we're moving closer and closer. And more opportunities are showing up for us to fulfill that. Are we clear? I know I am. And I'm hoping that you are. Are you expecting the right and perfect place without the yes buts? Those are the things that stand in the way of miracles occurring. And sometimes we have a belief that we don't deserve the good to come to us. We have old belief patterns and old belief habits that everybody in the world is making this philosophy work for them except us. And so what shows up? Except us. Because we really know and are very clear that what you think is what you get. And that is the truth and the law of the universe. What you think is what you get. That's what shows up in your life. Not the lip service. Not the yes, but, the before. It's always the after the but, that shows up for your life. So, there must have been a time in your life, and I'd like for you to just think about it now, when you felt or knew that you were in harmony and alignment with the universe, that you were in the flow of all good. Do you remember that? We tend to forget it. But there's that magical moment, the miraculous moment in time when everything is flowing properly and thoroughly and beautifully for us. And remembering that space, remembering that feeling, coming to that place is the place of creativity. It's the place of where miracles are incubated. It's like the little egg of a miracle. When we remember how it feels to be in harmony, how it feels to know that our lives are expressions of spirit. So Debbie and I had some tears around our magical miracle because I told her what I had written in my journal. And then I said to her, you know, your spirit in action. And as that's true for Debbie, that's true for you. Your spirit in action. You are the hands and the heart and the mind and the words of God. And as you move through your life, holding on to that knowing that you're God in action, and the people that you touch, and the action that you take, and the words that you speak are God. And you're powerful. Your goodness is Godness. And your good is God in action. So when you're clear about the good that you desire, when you're clear that you deserve all of the good that the universe has to provide you, when you're clear that it is the divine's desire to give you everything you long for, when you're clear, when your consciousness is clear, I'm not saying a clear conscience. That's not what I'm saying. Because, you know, it doesn't matter. That's all going on in your head. That's not doing anything that the Spirit is up to. The universe holds nothing against you. The universe holds nothing against you. It only is available to support you in whatever you're thinking. So forget the clear consciousness and be clear in your conscience. Clearly know what you wish to show up in your life. Speak it. Write it, because that always works for me. Being clear. Knowing that I am so blessed. That's what shows up for me. Blessings. That can happen for each one of us. And that can happen for this congregation. So I'd invite you to sort of take a look at what you're thinking as far as this congregation goes, because you're it. Take a look at what you're thinking. I've heard people say, oh, you know, they'll never find a place for the money that they want to spend. That's just one person's opinion. And we have. We found several places. Not the perfect place yet, not the right place. Now we could compromise. And we could say, oh well, that's good enough. But we deserve better, don't we? We deserve better. We deserve the place that is absolutely perfect for our needs. This is the vision I have, and I'll share it with you. I see a foyer. So we can come and be together and greet each other and then move into that sacred place. Yesterday, I went to the Greek festival, and they had a tour, he called it a tour, of the sanctuary. And when we stepped into that place, it was a sacred place, and we knew it. So that's the vision that I have. A foyer for being together and meeting and greeting, and then a place of sanctuary. That when we step in, we know we're in the cocoon of God. A place that has room for our children to be joyful, to learn these principles. A place for me to have an office, I'm just saying, that doesn't have the vacuum and all the cleaning equipment. I deserve that.
Yes,
I do. A place for meeting, that we can have our classes, that we can have our after church greet and meets. A kitchen area, so that we can create food together. I have a vision of giving classes and lessons on how to cook healthy, beneficial food that's affordable. And then teaching people in the community that maybe don't have a whole lot of money to spend, but to be in service in that way. A place for 12-step groups to meet. That's my vision. Maybe a place for a garden, for us to be outside, to grow those healthy vegetables. I know such a place exists. I'm very clear on it. I invite you to see and know that such a place is for our community. So, I'm putting aside all obstacles to miracles today. And I invite you to do the same. I wish you fulfilling, joyful, miraculous experiences in your life. It's all totally up to you and your clarity of consciousness. And I love each one of you. Namaste.
Namaste.
I would invite the practitioners and the minister to join with me as we hold that consciousness.